Hello guys, uh, I'm Rajiv. I'm with CV Sir here, and today we are back with our education series of videos after a long time. So, as you know, we have a YouTube channel which is Ask CV Hydro, hashtag Ask CV Hydro, and we get a lot of questions from people, and based on those questions, sometimes we end up making some educational videos. So, this is again on the same line of videos. The this video is a very crucial because if you are a farmer and if you're planning a commercial farm of 1 acre, let's say a tomato crop, and you've invested hardly around 25 lakhs to maybe 50 lakhs, whatever it is, you might end up losing that hard-earned money due to a single mistake of relying completely on technology. It is a very silly mistake, and that is one question that we received from one of the agricultural scientists in India, and we can't name anybody in this video. We won't be naming anybody, but we would love to share this experience with you guys. When this question came our way, when CV sir got this call, he was very happy to help him to answer that question, and he proposed a lot of solutions. But if he hadn't called and if he had gone with whatever result he was looking at, he would have ended up a big loss. Maybe minimum 25 lakhs would have gone down the drain with all the cost incurred on the inputs that he bought using the hard-earned money. So if you want to save your 25 lakhs, if you want to save your hard-earned money, watch this video till the end. I'm with CV sir. I'm going to take you through this educational video which will tell you about the problem. We will go through the story of the experience that this doctor, this scientist had with his client, and we will also look at the solutions, what needs to be done to prevent these kind of silly mistakes and save your hard-earned money and grow a successful crop. And we would also look at certain lessons learned for all the participants in this ecosystem, including the grower, agronomist, the consultant, the trader, the manufacturer. From all that perspective, we will look at certain lessons that you will be learning. So watch this video till the end. So sir, thank you for joining again. It's going to be fun on this video as usual.
Yep.
So could you tell us why, what happened on that call? How did this begin? What was the issue?
You see, Rajiv, I got a call from this gentleman who runs the farm, and he looks after a farm of close to about 8 to 10 or 12 acres. And he called me, and he's a good friend, and he called me after a long time. And I said hi, and the usual bonhomie that we have. So he said, "Sir, I called you with a particular reason. I'm facing a problem." So I said, "Let me know what your problem is." So he says, "Sir, I'm running a particular farm for another company, which is about 10 to 12 acres in size, and we have net houses, and we have poly houses, and we have a nursery, which is a fan and pad system." And he explained some things, and then I asked him, "Now get to the point. Tell me, what's your problem?" So the gentleman says, "Sir, this is how it is. We have set up everything. The farm's ready for beginning operations, and we had already got all the inputs like cocoa peat and nutrition and seeds and what have you. So one area where we are really in trouble, and we don't know where to go, what to do, is with the cocoa peat." So I said, "Yeah, so what happened to your cocoa peat?" So he says, "Sir, we ordered cocoa peat from a trader in Chennai, or a so-called manufacturer in Chennai of cocoa peat, and we placed a large order of 18 to 20 tons. We received the cocoa peat a few months ago, and we had kept it in a store, and we were waiting to hydrate it and use it and fill up the grow bags and stuff. But what happened was, when they got the cocoa peat, before they got the cocoa peat, they did the right thing. They got a sample. They tested it for its EC and pH. Everything was right. The EC was supposed to be low, and it was very low. I'm told it was just about 0.5 or 0.4 EC, electrical conductivity. And the pH normally in a good cocoa peat should be near neutral. That means it could be 6.8 to 7.2, thereabouts. Now what happened was, when they were about to start using the coco peat, they had to hydrate it. So what they did, they started hydrating it, and then they also checked what is the EC and pH, because they had not used it for a long time. So they did a recheck. They found the electrical conductivity was just the same as what it was when it was supplied, and the pH was 4.1.
Wow.
That means it was highly acidic. Now there are only very few. There are most. If you look at most plants in the world, there are very few plants which operate ideally at 4.1, 4.2, like tea, for example, or maybe berries. Some berries they grow in more acidic condition. So he said, sir, but I asked him, okay, you're washing down this coco peat, you're hydrating it with what kind of water? What is the pH of that water? So he said it's around 7.1. I said, yeah, if you're if you're washing it, then the pH should average out and it should start rising.
Right.
He says, sir, we washed it twice, we washed it thrice, but the pH just doesn't shift from 4.1 anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So he said, now what do we do, sir? We got all this coco peat, we've spent money on it. If we can't use it, it's going to be a huge loss.
Yeah.
It's in lakhs of rupees. So what happened was he was really, I could make out he was really feeling, very tense about the whole thing. And then I said, okay, what you can do, my friend, when you're washing it, now I want you to use potassium bicarbonate or potassium hydroxide, which is normally used in our soilless industry for raising the pH. So I said, try washing it with that and see if the pH rises. So he was very happy. He said, okay, sir, thank you so much for the input. Because that's one way we increase pH when you want it to go up from below.
Yeah.
Anyway, I gave him this thing. I said, tomorrow I want you to do this test and come back to me and give me a result, what happened, what is the scenario. Now, I am never satisfied with myself many a times when I give him this initial answer. But I said, there could be many more things that I might not have thought of. Maybe I have not looked at other angles why this is happening. The funny part is, this guy calls up the manufacturer and literally shouts at him and says, when you gave us the sample, everything was fine. The pH was 7.1.
Yeah.
Now when we are testing it, it's 4.1. So the manufacturer, so-called manufacturer, who actually is a trader, he says because the coco peat has been sitting there for months together, the pH has come down. From which science are they talking?
Yeah.
That clearly shows that this manufacturer, he's not a manufacturer, he's just a trader. He has no idea about coco peat. He just buys from somewhere and sells to people. But it's not that he had supplied the wrong coco peat, that you will come to know afterwards as I speak. But the fact is that he gave such a stupid answer, saying that because your coco peat has been sitting there for 3-4 months, the pH has come down. How in the world can it come down?
Yeah.
It cannot come down unless you hydrated it with some very highly acidic water in the first place.
That shows the lack of product knowledge.
Yes.
From the trader's perspective.
Absolutely. Now, overnight, when I went home, I was sitting at my table doing my work, and suddenly this thought came to me. There could be a possibility that the pH meter is faulty. The one he's using might be faulty.
Yeah.
And if it is faulty, it's not going to show any other pH because it's stuck there. It gets stuck at that point and it doesn't move. He says, I've been washing 3 times, but pH is not changing. That means there could be a possibility that the pH meter or the probe is faulty. So next morning, I sent this guy, my friend, a message, WhatsApp, and I asked him, okay, tell me one thing. When was your pH meter last calibrated? He said, 1 year ago. I said, voila, I got my answer. The SOP that is needed to be followed for a pH meter maintenance wise, if you don't use your pH meter for 60 days continuously, you left it idle, before you use it next, you got to recalibrate it. Number 1. Number 2, after every 30 consecutive readings, and there are so many readings that we use the pH meter quite a bit in soilless farms. After the 30th reading, consecutive reading, you are supposed to calibrate your pH meter. And in large farms, every person working on the farm who has to check EC and pH, they are given their own pH probes, which they don't share with anyone.
Right.
The reason is, if I share my pH probe after having dropped it, possibility is that the pH meter may be out of calibration,
Right.
or it's damaged.
Hmm.
So what they do in large farms, they collect all the pH meters and EC meters, mainly pH meters, because EC doesn't need that kind of calibration every week, although it needs to also be maintained and kept clean. But the thing is, everybody's pH meter is brought to a central point, and there's one person who will calibrate everybody's pH meter and give it back to them.
Right.
So you are always sure that everyone's pH meter is speaking the same language.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So now I asked him a few questions like this, and I realized that the SOP was
Not in place.
not in place. So when you run a farm, you got to have SOP for everything.
Yeah.
You got to have all things that you need to do as a matter of routine there, and you can't miss out on it. So what happened here was, I mean, I don't blame them, but this was not happening. So when I gave him this answer, I told him, I want you to test with your pH meter, your source water pH, and I also want you to test after washing what's the pH, and let me know the pH what you're getting out of the cocoa bean.
Yeah.
So after a few hours, or next day I think it was, the message I sent him was about the pH meter was at night, and in the morning I get a message from him. I asked him for an update. He says, sir, another thing was, this pH meter is, there are hundreds of brands of pH meters in the market. Some of them are so inexpensive, but they are the worst ones. You are not supposed to use them in a commercial farm. If you ask me, I would ask people to use a Blue Lab New Zealand combo, a triple combo, which has got EC, pH and temperature. Or I would ask them to use a Hanna. Hanna is another excellent instrument.
Well, just wanted to tell the viewers that this is not a paid promotion.
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying from my experience,
Yeah.
because I have used Blue Lab,
Yeah.
I've used Hanna,
Yeah.
and I've used it accurately because I've been a farmer myself.
Right.
But this is one more thing that's very important, that we cannot go for so cheap pH meters.
Yeah.
There are pH meters being imported from China
And white labeled.
and white labeled in India and being sold for 500 rupees and 300 rupees. Now, what do you expect from a 300 rupee pH meter?
Yeah.
So that was one thing that happened. I understood that SOP was missing. Very cheap pH meter, not some kind of brand that no one's heard of.
Right.
So what he did, he went to the market and bought a pH meter, brand new, and he had not yet done the test, which I told him to do with the pH meter. He got a brand new pH meter, calibrated it, or it was already pre-calibrated, and when he tested, voila, the cocoa peat shows 7.1 pH. So what happened?
Super.
What really happened? Now, this is what I'm trying to say. Many times we take things for granted. We believe in instruments. Instruments are instruments, they are technology, and technology can fail. That is the reason why we need to be on top of things, and we need to follow the right standard operating procedure.
Right.
So in this case, number one, it put the customer or the person who called me and the farm people under severe tension, because they had bought a lot of cocoa peat,
Yeah, they were invested hugely.
hugely, and they can't return it.
Correct.
What would they do if actually that cocoa peat was 4.1? That was their worry.
Yeah.
I mean, at best they could have just strewn it around for trees and other things, but not for crops.
Right.
And substrate is such an important thing. It's the stomach of the plant,
Right.
right? It's like it's a stomach. The plant is growing in that little womb, and that womb contains cocoa peat.
Yeah.
Now, so he came back and said, sir, I bought a new pH meter. Everything is fine. I said, look, there you go. I told you, I wanted to know whether your pH meter is faulty.
Yeah.
And he did try, I think, to calibrate that old one, but it wouldn't calibrate because it's beyond control. So, pH and EC meter is like a stethoscope of a doctor.
Yep.
You will never see two doctors sharing a stethoscope.
Right.
Everyone has his own around his neck. The reason? Because if you drop your stethoscope somewhere or you knock it somewhere and you're listening to the heartbeat of someone else, you get the wrong message.
Yeah.
Because the heartbeat, what it should sound, may sound different.
Correct.
And you may diagnose differently. So same thing is with this pH and EC meter, electrical conductivity meter. It is lifeline. You can't play with it.
Right.
It's a cardinal mistake. if you're not calibrating your pH meter, if you're not washing it properly, if you're not storing it properly. So this was a lesson that the caller
Yeah.
learned,
Yeah.
a lesson he will never forget,
Correct.
a lesson that he will tell every grower in the team
Yeah.
to watch out for. And I'm sure they will follow this SOP without fail.
Absolutely. What I see is that you just did a root cause analysis by asking those questions to this person who called.
Yeah.
And usually there are three major components to any business, any initiative, like people, process, and technology.
Yes.
And on all three angles, there are failures happening.
Yes.
People are not skilled.
Yes.
The trader is not aware of the product,
Exactly.
what he is selling.
Exactly.
He doesn't have a SOP in place. He doesn't know the process of testing. He is
Yes.
not educating the customer.
Yes.
Customer gets the right product delivered, but he is not able to get the right result
Yes.
because of his lack of knowledge and skills.
Yeah.
Not aware of the technology that he is using,
Yes.
the instrument that he is using,
Yes.
and he loses trust in the trader.
Yeah.
So the trader could have lost the business.
customer.
Yeah, he lost.
And I don't think he's ever going to go to that trader again.
Yeah.
Even if his cocoa pit is good.
Right.
Because that stupid answer that he gave,
Yeah,
that cocoa pit sitting there has gone from 7.1 to 4.1.
Yeah.
It can never happen.
yeah. That clearly shows lack of knowledge.
It's not been hydrated.
Yeah. Yeah. Lack of experience, I would say.
I mean, he doesn't know his product.
Yeah. So on all
And when if he knew his product, even he would have possibly asked the same question, check your pH meter.
correct,
Am I right?
because that is coming from experience.
Yes.
Which he lacks.
Yes. I'll tell you another story during this talk
Yep.
about what happened with one of my 90-day students almost a year ago when he was with me doing a 90-day program. How his pH meter was faulty. And he kept on adding more and more. EC meter was faulty, and he kept adding more and more and more of boric acid in the same volume of container of 15 liters. And finally, the EC was so high, he went and did a foliar spray on all the entire crop. The entire crop was burnt within 30 seconds, 30 minutes. So he comes to my office and says, "Sir," he looked very sad. And I asked him what happened. Of course, he was a trainee and we don't sell anything there, so it's fine. He said, "Sir, I have damaged every crop. I have ruined the entire wine crop. Every crop has been destroyed."
Right.
I said, "Very good. You learn like this. You learn from mistakes."
Correct.
What happened was the EC meter was faulty. It wasn't reading right.
Right.
Now the batteries, your batteries also in a pH probe or a EC probe, they have to also be regularly changed.
Right.
If the battery is weak and the voltages are not right, that can also affect your readings on the pH meter.
Correct.
So there's so much of, like I say always, the devil is in the detail.
Yeah.
The devil is in the detail. You may think, oh, I'm doing everything, but when you know the small little things like these can ruin your crop.
Right.
And imagine if, okay, leave alone the cocoa peat. What in between when they're adding nutrition to the water before giving it to the plants for fertigation? If the pH meter is faulty, you're believing the instrument.
Yep.
You're adding more of this, more of this, more of this to bring the pH up or down. But what you've done is you increased either nitric acid or phosphoric acid which is used to bring the pH down, or you've added so much of bicarbonate, potassium bicarbonate or potassium hydroxide. And what happens? You're still looking at the instrument and you're trying to believe the instrument. You should immediately get a thought. Normally, I don't add so much to get this pH from here to there. Why is it not moving?
Yeah.
That question should come.
Right.
Now, that is the reason why I say skill is important. It's not just skill alone. You may have knowledge, you may have whatever, but at every point, you should be questioning.
Right.
You got to keep on asking questions.
Correct.
Why is this happening? But it happens when, well, you're just doing it mechanically. Now, I think I'll give you a small example. A pilot coming into land. Of course, he's got technology and glide slope and this and that and everything is fine. But as he is descending, he's looking at his altimeter, which shows height above ground. The altimeter says 2,000 feet. But this pilot who has got 30 years of flying experience looks through his cockpit window and says, it looks like 200 feet to me because he has got so much experience.
Yeah.
Would he believe the instrument or would he believe that he is actually close there?
We'll believe his instinct.
Yes. What is the eyes telling you?
Yeah.
So that is the reason why one lesson that I would want viewers to know: don't ever think that technology can replace a human being.
Correct.
Technology is as good as its last mistake,
Yep.
and you are good as good as your mistake,
Right.
last observation.
Right, sir.
It's as simple as that.
True, sir.
Yeah. So the lessons to be learned: when you buy cocoa peat, buy it from a manufacturer who has some reputation. There are more than 500 companies in India, in Tamil Nadu mainly, which are cocoa peat manufacturers. But go to the right person, because like I always say, seed quality, water quality, nutrient quality, media quality. They are like the 4 tires of a car. You can't take your car anywhere if one tire is flat.
Correct. Correct.
So these 4 things are so important.
Non-compromisable.
They're non-compromisable. You cannot say I did 3 right and 1 was okay. It doesn't work like that. And you have to be on top of things.
Yeah.
So lessons learned. Number 1, as a grower, you got to follow SOP. When you have an instrument that you purchase, they give you a technical manual. Read through it.
Yeah.
Understand the manual. Many a times we buy a mobile, we hardly ever read the book, right?
Right.
Because we have been having mobiles earlier. What if that particular mobile manufacturer has some extra stuff to tell you? You should know it.
Correct.
Like my iPhone, the screen expanded and the letters became really big, and I'm not a very tech savvy guy, so I was not able to switch it off. I touch the screen, nothing happens. I can't shorten the screen, make it smaller. Then I went to YouTube and I watched a video. Then it said, okay, you have to hold this button on, this off, and then this for a longer time, and it worked. But had I read the manual properly, I would have known this without going to YouTube.
Correct.
So what I'm trying to say is, agriculture works. It's a science. And here you see, it is a mistake made with the science.
Yeah.
So if anyone thinks just to put a plant and just pour some water and do something, you do anything random, you get random result. It's as simple as that.
True.
So what I'm trying to say, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just bringing out this in a video, just to make people who are entering this field or already in this field, who think that they know everything. They know everything.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems is we become complacent. We think I know everything.
Yeah.
That's the most dangerous thing that can happen to a human being.
The Dunning-Kruger effect.
The Dunning-Kruger effect. It's okay. So we don't want that. So why I thought of making this video was because it's more out of concern for people, a concern for sellers of cocoa peat, telling them that you need to know your product.
Yep.
I'm telling the buyer what he should do.
Yeah.
Get a sample, test it,
Educate
them.
Educate the buyer.
Educate the buyer. Tell him what is the importance of standard operating procedure.
Yep.
Then it's an overall message to everyone.
Yep.
Because this is a very, very critical, crucial thing. You keep believing your pH meter, you keep believing your EC meter. They can go awfully wrong. It's not that it has to fall down to lose its calibration. It's just that you haven't maintained it.
Correct.
I've been to farms in India which use these hydroponic controllers,
Yeah.
and they have these inline probes, pH and EC probe. They come in a kind of canister. They're inside that, and water passes through that. So I asked these guys, when did you ever open this canister? So, and how long have you been running this farm? 3 years. When did you open this canister? He said, we never opened it. Now, if you're not opened it, there's algae in it. There's so much of impurities come into it,
Right.
and it has actually coated the bulb. The pH probe has a bulb, right? It's coated it with algae.
Yeah.
That means that is also giving you wrong reading.
Absolutely.
So you have to clean it.
Absolutely.
You have to clean it. You got to take care of it. You got to maintain it.
Yep.
So it's not a walk in the park.
Yeah. In the SOP, there should be a maintenance cycle.
Absolutely. It goes for every kind of tool, every kind of equipment, especially measuring equipments.
Yeah.
Measuring equipments have to be calibrated.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like you using a weighing scale.
Absolutely.
Okay. Say for example, you're a shopkeeper and you're selling rice, and you take a scoop and somebody asks you for 1 kg of rice. What if your weighing scale is when it reaches actually 800 grams and the customers ask for 1 kg? When it reaches 800 grams, the scale is showing 1 kilo. It's got an error of 200 grams. So in the eyes of the customer, you have cheated him.
Correct.
you didn't want to cheat him, but because you didn't get the scale calibrated,
Right.
it happened. What if when it's actually 1200 grams, it reads 1000 grams? The trader loses money.
Correct.
He's given extra for no reason.
Right.
It applies across every industry, Rajiv.
Yes.
Calibration.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, it's like so important. So here, it's a lesson for all.
Yep.
It's something that I wanted to bring out so that it benefits.
Yep.
You know, at CV Hydro, we believe in dissemination of information.
Yep. And speaking the truth.
Yes, of course.
The truth about hydroponics.
We only know the truth side of hydroponics, unfortunately. So that's why we don't get enough customers because it's very hard to hear the truth.
Yeah. Truth hurts. Truth is painful.
Yes. So I'm so happy that this gentleman, my dear friend, called me, and I felt very nice that it was nothing about money or anything involved.
Yeah.
I don't charge him, or I didn't charge him a pie. But I'm so happy that intervention
Yeah.
has gone a long way for him. It's going to hold him in good stead.
Yeah, and it became an opportunity to create this video and educate everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's it, Rajiv. I think
What I learned, just to sum it up and close this,
Yep.
what I've learned is that asking questions is key.
Yeah.
And as a agronomist, as a consultant, like in the real world, there are a lot of consultants who, when they encounter such an issue, they might just escape the place.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because they don't know how to ask the questions, how to perform a root cause analysis.
Rajiv, it's just, I'm not saying it out of any boasting or anything. It's just experience, Rajiv.
Yeah.
And because I've been teaching students,
Yeah.
I've seen students make these cardinal mistakes.
Yep.
So sometimes I had one more situation. One guy, my first two students, one morning, early morning, they come home and I had a NFT system for teaching them at my house. They come and ring the bell and disturb me. I wanted to have a good sleep that night and wake up a little late in the morning. Sir, I thought what happened, some earthquake or what? So anyway, I came to my window was open, so I said, yeah, tell me what happened. Sir, all the lettuce are dead. I said, okay. So they thought I'm going to open the door, come and immediately have a look and stuff like that. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I went, I made my coffee, came out aram se with my mug in my hand, coffee mug. I said, yeah, tell me guys what happened. So they said, sir, we adjusted the pH. And God knows what happened, sir. Look, this whole plants are dead. And they're all the plants were like literally dead. All fallen. And that evening when we closed for the day, everything was so beautiful. Each lettuce looked so beautiful. Everything was nice. Then I asked them, you adjusted the pH? Yes, sir. Okay. When did you calibrate this pH paper? They can't even remember. But that was a lesson for them.
Oh yeah.
But luckily, because it had just happened, I asked them to completely change the water, remove the entire water from the system and put new water. And the sun was coming up. And with that sun coming up and the heat and the light, they recovered. But had it gone for another 5 minutes in that state without changing that water, the crop was gone.
Yeah.
Imagine that was a small NFT system with 60 plants.
Right.
Imagine thousands of plants in an acre. You're watering your plants and you make such a cardinal mistake. You can ruin your crop. You can lose lakhs of rupees.
Disaster.
Lakhs of rupees. That's the reason why I keep on telling everyone the importance of learning. Skill. But everybody thinks this old man, he keeps on talking about skill. What is the skill? Because there are people in the industry who sell product, who sell equipment, who sell projects. They themselves have never been farmers.
Right.
Now they don't educate or they make the buyer feel that it really is a walk in the park. I mean, it's cool. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
If that was the case, then agriculture's problem would have been solved in this world.
It's not a walk in the park.
It's not just soilless, Rajiv. It's soil also, or any methodology of growing plants. There is a method in the madness.
Absolutely.
There is to be method. There has to be observation. There has to be analytical thinking.
Yep.
That is one more thing I want to tell you before I finish this thing.
Yep.
Always keep a spare pH meter.
As a backup.
As a backup, so that you can compare a good quality meter, keep it, so that you can always test it against this.
Yeah.
So then you can be in peace. So this is another message that I want to give. I've got lots of things I can talk about as far as
So that you can stitch in time and save 9.
yeah, stitch in time saves 9, and like I said, the devil is in the detail.
Yeah.
So you have to be on top of things.
Absolutely.
You've got to be very observant. The most important thing is when you do something, you got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is there science behind it?
Yep.
What is the science behind it?
Yep. Keep questioning.
Yeah, keep questioning, and don't ever rest on your laurels or rest on your oars, as we say in the Navy.
Yep.
You don't do that. You got to improve your own game. You have to raise your own bar. Don't think that, oh, I did this much and this is the ultimate.
Yep.
Always ask yourself, could I have done something better? Could I have improved my SOP better?
Yep.
Can I add something new to my SOP?
Yep.
That is how, that's what makes the difference between a good grower and a bad grower. And Rajiv, you won't believe, there are people who have done 15 years continuously, successfully, they have grown crops. In the 16th year, I'm just giving an example, they have lost an entire crop.
Boom.
Yes, I know a person, I won't name him, in Australia who was a good farmer in northeastern Australia, near Cairns. 14, 15 years, beautiful. Or he's got buyers, everything. 2-3 trucks leave every week, goes and supplies right up to Queensland, New South Wales, comes back. He was doing very well. Then one day, somebody came and sold him some inferior quality fertilizer,
Okay.
saying that it's much cheaper than what you're buying. So this guy thought, oh, I'll save a lot of money. And that was disaster. He ended in disaster. He lost 14 acres of his crops were damaged.
Terrible.
And what do you tell the buyer? What do you tell the buyer? I burnt my crop. So I'm not saying that it is rocket science. It is perfect science.
Yeah.
It's perfect science. Agriculture is total science.
True, sir.
Yeah. Like this morning I showed you the pumpkin plants.
Yeah.
You saw they were yellow.
Right.
And within hours,
Yeah.
you saw the leaves becoming green.
Green.
That's because the seed which came from the mother
Yeah.
had some nutrition in it.
Right.
That nutrition is over. Now the plant's saying, hello, good morning.
I need light.
I need light and I need some food.
Food.
My whatever EC, I have come to EC equal to 0.
Yeah.
There's no nutrition left. So that observation made me take care of it, keep it in the sun, harden it, and give it a very low EC. And that's how the greenish thing came.
Yeah.
See how fast plants respond?
Yep.
They're very responsive.
Yeah, they're intelligent.
They're intelligent, they're very responsive. So you have to be at it.
Yeah.
So once you're at it, you're good.
True.
Like I said, never get complacent. Never think I have learnt everything. Oh, I've done this before. You might have done it 100 times, but 101st time there's a chance of failing.
Absolutely.
So this is my message, Raj.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this. You just saved people lakhs and crores of money who have already invested and who could invest in the near future.
Yes.
So I think this is a valuable lesson that you've shared.
Exactly.
And guys, if you enjoyed this session, we have just one message to you guys. You can continue to ask questions, keep asking questions. This is Ask CV Hydro. And
Like and subscribe.
your questions help us to make such educational videos for you guys. So now that you were able to save lakhs and crores of rupees, please drop your Guru Dakshina in the comment section with your 2 cents
And subscribe.
and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'll come back with many other things as we go.
Bye, sir. Signing off with CV, sir.